When Mr. Hutchinson asked me to speak about our experience in Haiti, I was truthfully a little intimidated. Not because I was nervous to speak in chapel, but because I didn't believe that I could possibly write a speech to convey to you tonight what it's like to go to Haiti. After pondering this for quite some time, I figured that I couldn't ever describe the experience of Haiti. Because truthfully, I believe that the only way you might begin to grasp what it is like is to go. So in this speech, I will not try to lecture you on how much Haiti changed our lives, or how much better I feel now that I went. Rather, I will simply recount experiences that particularly struck me during my time in Lafond. If you get anything out of this talk, I want you to know that however you interpret what I say, the only true approach to fully grasping it is to go yourself. I encourage all of you to go sometime in your life, and I promise that your life will never be the same. But I'll just stick to the stories, so here it goes. I want you to imagine that it's nighttime, and that you're standing in front of a house, roughly 2/3 the size of the student center, that is crudely painted Pepto-Bismol pink and dark turquoise. At first, it seems incredibly tacky, but then you begin to appreciate it once you learn that it was painted by members of the community for no reason other than that they were expecting 4 students and 2 teachers from St. Andrew's School. You walk into the humble abode to find 15 Haitian men scrunched into a space seemingly no bigger than a practice room. With the headlamp wrapped around the banister as a source of light, you can barely make out all of their faces. At first glance, it might appear that the yelling men are having a heated political debate, although you can't really tell because it's all in Creole. But then as your eyes adjust, you realize that in fact, it is the absolute most intense and energetic game of Uno that you have ever witnessed. I couldn't remember the last time that I had played Uno, but I'll never forget playing it in Haiti. In Haiti, I often had the "how the hell did I get here" moments. This was definitely one of those moments. We had originally brought the game to give to the children, but the second we introduced the game to the men, that plan quickly faded away. Uno, which to me seemed like such a simple and childish game, became an addiction to many of the men in Lafond. They wanted to play it constantly. They played it in the morning, at night, during lunch, and even in the middle of a day hike. Put simply, Uno was life. My opinion of Uno completely changed over the course of my trip to Haiti. I now view Uno as the single most competitive game that man has ever created. Although the poverty at times was so depressing, the people of Lafond quickly put a smile to my face because in their hearts they had more joy and energy for life than I could have ever expected. The second story I want to tell you is about the overwhelming sense of community that our group witnessed in Haiti. Although poor, Lafond, Haiti has a greater sense of community between each other than anywhere else that I have been. For example, one day when we were working on the latrine for the school, we began to realize that a large crowd was beginning to surface around a small house not too far away. Eager to see what all the excitement was about, I ran to join them. What I saw was incredible. Through broken French and English, I discovered that the man of the house, because of a feud, was attempting to throw his pregnant wife out of his home. As the woman began to pack her things, a crowd formed around the house and started to scold the man for his actions. At the same time, they explained to the woman that there was no way that in her condition that she was going to leave her home. I was stunned. I can't tell you how long it would take me to realize that one of my neighbors had left. It sounds really inconsiderate of me, but I really don't know my neighbors. What shocked all of us was that in Haiti, the goal wasn't to be better or more successful than somebody else. The goal was that the community succeeded. People weren't selfish. They couldn't afford to be. They realized that the only way to really succeed is if everyone works together, and anything short of that is just the wrong way to go about life. And this brings us to my third and final story, an experience that I've had the hardest time dealing with after my trip to Haiti. On the last day of our stay in Lafond, the community came together and threw us a little going away party. The hospitality was absolutely incredible throughout the trip. But what really struck me that night was when a young boy named Journet approached me and in his best French asked me to transfer him to St. Andrews. I was tongue-tied. I tried to make excuses on why he wouldn't be able to succeed in American school, but in my heart, I knew that he would. I told him that he would have to speak better English, and he said he would learn, that he would learn very quick, and I knew that he could. I eventually told him that as a student, I had no power in the admissions process, and that he should talk to Bertin, our host, about how best to go to an American school. Despite my most sincere efforts, I could not come up with a good reason for why any of the children of Lafond wouldn't succeed in an American boarding school environment. They loved and were dedicated to learning, and that they had a work ethic that I would only wish to emulate. It's hard to think about how much better Journet's life could be if he went to a school like St. Andrews. He wouldn't have to deal with the daily toils of poverty. He wouldn't have to go to bed each night hungry, or even wonder how much time that he needs to set apart from his day to ensure that he can take a 4-mile round trip up and down hills to acquire his fresh water. But truthfully, there was nothing that I could do. At the end of the day, Haiti needed Journet to stay. Haiti needs intellectuals to stay, to thrive there. If all the great minds and hard workers keep leaving Haiti in the search for a better life, Haiti will never succeed. I pray that someday Journet will be part of the solution that heals Haiti, but that is only a hope. In reality, I do not know how his or anyone else's life will end up. I can only hope that it will be better than it is today. Haiti is truly an incredible place, and I encourage all of you to go experience it for yourself. I don't know the solution to their problems, and I don't think that any of us really do. After all, the latrine that we built is not going to end their hardships. But what we experienced in Haiti was so much greater. We will always remember the friends that we made, and hopefully we send a message to the people of Lafond that people do care, even if they live thousands of miles away. I am thankful for what I've experienced and continue to experience because I took a trip to Haiti. Hopefully what I talked about finds a special place in your heart and encourages you to seek out similar experiences. If you have any inclination to commit to an adventure and travel to Haiti, I recommend it highly, because the only way to truly grasp the country is to go.